Now is the first presenter. You can start now.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary. I'd like to share with my journey of becoming a guiding Chinese teacher who pays attention to teaching details. I'll divide my presentation into 3 parts: my career goal, 3 experiences, and my future plan. Let me start with a question. When you recall a memorable teacher, what comes to your mind? A certain knowledge point they taught, or a glance, a tone, or something they said to you? Most likely, you choose the second. I think teaching is not just about delivering knowledge. It's about building a psychological bridge between teachers and students to guide their growth. This process relies on teaching details beyond the lesson plan. This is why I hope to become a guiding middle school Chinese teacher who values these details. Now, let me share 3 experiences that gradually confirmed this goal for me. My first experience comes from teaching English to 2nd grade primary school students in a GEM course. This experience gave me an initial understanding of the impact of teaching details. Young students often have trouble staying focused and tend to talk in class. During the first 2 lessons, when the students become noisy, I instinctively raised my voice to suppress the noise and get their attention. But they only quiet down for a short while and then start talking again. At the end of the lesson, my voice was almost hoarse. In the 3rd lesson, when the students start talking again, I simply stopped speaking. To my surprise, they gradually become quiet. After class, I reflected on what happened and came across the attention arousal theory, which confirmed my accidental discovery. This theory suggested that changes in environmental stimuli reawaken attention, while constant and unchanging stimuli lead to a decline in attention. I began to use changes in my voice to test this finding. When explaining key points, I deliberately lowered my voice, slowed down my speech rate, and changed my tone to sound more curious. The students were drawn in by the change and became curious about what I was saying. So they actively focused and listened carefully. This experience demonstrated 2 learning frameworks. The first is the GILO problem-solving skills. I found that raising my voice didn't work. When I unintentionally paused and students become quiet, I decided to try using pauses and voice changes deliberately. After applying these strategies and observing students' responses, I concluded that changes in sound are an effective teaching tool. And the second is the GELO application of skills. Through this experience, I learned to turn my voice from a habit into a conscious teaching tool. I deliberately used pauses and tone changes, applying these skills in real classroom situations to address the practical issue of students' distraction. This is exactly the application of skills in practice. And my first experience comes from observing professional teachers giving Chinese lessons at the primary school. Before this, I believed that instructional design was the standard for evaluating a good lesson. So, I took my notebook ready to record the teacher's teaching method and classroom activities. However, I observed an interesting contrast. When a student couldn't answer a question, teacher A said, "Think again," and immediately called another student. As a result, that student never raised his hand again for the rest of the class. When facing the same situation, teacher B handled it differently. She bent down close to the student, lowered her voice, looked at the student with expectant eyes, and broke down the question to guide the student to find the answer in the text. With her guidance, student found the answer and showed her motivation throughout the remaining class. This reminded me of the scaffolding theory. This theory suggests that teachers can provide temporary support to help students complete tasks they cannot do alone. As students gain competence, the support is gradually removed. Teacher B's classroom was full of small details, and the students in this class were more engaged and unafraid to answer questions. After reflecting, I realized that a lesson plan is the foundation of a classroom, but a good teacher also pays close attention to teaching details, attending to students' psychological needs through guidance and emotion support to help them learn. This experience demonstrated the GILO critical thinking skills. First, I identified the issue I used to think instructional design was the standard for a good lesson. By observing the two teachers made me realize that small gestures and details matter more. Next, by comparing the two teachers, I have disproved the notion that a good teacher is equivalent to a good teaching design. Finally, I formed a new conclusion. A good teacher meets students' psychological needs through details and emotion support. Design can be copied, but how a teacher responds determines the warmth of a classroom. And my third experience comes from teaching Chinese in a middle school. In this experience, I tried to apply my understanding of teaching details to a secondary school classroom. I found that teaching details matter across all age groups. Different students and different situations require teachers to analyze their psychological needs from different perspectives and provide targeted feedback. Now, let me share my future plan. My short-term goals mainly contains the next 2 to 3 years. First, I plan to pursue a master's degree in educational psychology. This will help me better analyze and understand students' needs in my future teaching. Second, during my internship, I will deliberately practice teaching details. I will record my questioning style, tone changes, and body language in class, and reflect after each lesson. My long-term goals, mainly for the next 3 to 5 years, are also two. First, I hope to form my own teaching style to become a guiding teacher who starts from students' psychological needs and has a rich and mature set of teaching details. Second, I want students in my classroom to feel safe, heard, and expected. In conclusion, teaching details cannot be ignored. Many issues that arise in real classrooms can be addressed through wise and thoughtful details. These three experiences have confirmed for me the importance of details of teaching. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.